Hi everybody, Paul Cameron here from SpeedUpMyJobSearch.com with a clip from our monthly jobs-driven networking group, which meets in Wheaton, Illinois every third Thursday. Let's take a look. We're going to talk about recruiters. I'm really excited there's so many people here for this meeting to talk about everybody's favorite subject, recruiters, right? So I want to start out, what I want to do here today is not only show you how to network with them specifically, but give you a better insight in terms of what we do, so that way you can have more of a perspective on how to network with us and get the most out of those relationships. The 5 criteria in which candidates judge recruiters. The number one way candidates judge recruiters is by whether or not they helped you get a job. All right? If you didn't help me get a job, you might be a nice recruiter, but obviously you're not very good because you didn't get me a job. Right? If you didn't get me a job, well, at least did you get me an interview? Like, okay, well, you didn't get me a job, you didn't even get me an interview, at least did you present me with a job that I could think about and then tell you no? So number 4, if they didn't do any of that, did they at least help you with your search in some way? All right, did they at least show you a pointer or a tip or give you a lead or something somewhere else? And if they didn't do that, did they at least treat you with respect? All right, did they call you back when you sent them your resume? All right, those 5 things, this is typically how we get judged. All right, so now let's talk about what recruiters actually do. All right, recruiter's job is to find people for jobs, not jobs for people. All right, and that's a pretty big distinction. All right, we're there, we get hired by companies to go out and find people to fill whatever jobs we happen to have. So that means that success with any individual recruiter is entirely dependent on timing. Right? You could be the best financial manager I've ever spoken to in my entire life, but if my list of clients doesn't have a need for a financial manager right now, I'm not going to be your favorite recruiter. So you want to get your line in the water with a few different recruiters because we all have a different list of clients. So why would you want to work with a recruiter? The key is that we've got the relationships, all right? As far as networking goes, that's what we do for a living. Like, I get paid to make as many friends as I possibly can, right? That's my job, which I think is cool. But I get paid to make those relationships. I don't get paid to figure out how a SQL Server database works. So on that note, if you have a recruiter and they don't fully understand what you're talking about, remember their key skill is developing the relationships, not understanding the skill set. They give you insight into the company. So you go on the interview, they can tell you what's going on at that company. They're in a hiring mode. They're kind of stepping back a little, and they need someone who can help that particular situation. Prior to the interview itself, you're going to talk to the COO. Her personality is a little bit more reserved, so you don't want to go over the top with her because she's going to, bristle a little bit at that. And you want to make sure you talk about these aspects with her versus those aspects. That's information, if you applied on your own, you can't get. And they can persistently follow up on your behalf with the employer. And they're going to do your negotiating for you. You go in there and you negotiate for the moon and you get a fantastic salary. Well, that hiring manager's looking at you like, well, you better be fantastic if you're demanding that much from me, kind of thing. Whereas if I go in there, that's my job. So, and then on top of that, which I don't think I even put on here, in acting as a third-party reference, so I go in there talking about you that, hey, I've got this great person. So it's not you saying, hey, I'm so great. It's me saying you're a great person because of this, this, and this. But on top of that, I've got a guarantee. Right? So if for some reason you leave, I'm obligated to go get somebody else. You come in off the street, there's no guarantee. And they spend all that time, money training on somebody that's just lost. So now to give you a little peek behind the curtain in terms of what recruiters do. If I place somewhere between 5 and 7 people, to do that, I need to call 700 to 800 people. That takes a crazy amount of planning to line up those phone calls to make, to even dial the phone and put those numbers together. Incredibly long hours, massive amounts of rejection, keeping focus despite all of the offers for coffee and lunch. I can't tell you how many times I can get an offer to go to lunch with somebody or get coffee with somebody. For me to do that, I am giving up those phone calls that I could potentially make so that I could sit down with somebody to talk about how I don't have a job for you yet. Whereas if I was on the phone, I could potentially go get that job. So if you ask a recruiter to lunch and they very politely decline and try to find an alternate way of doing that, that's why, because they're trying to save as much time as they can. We have to be relentless about protecting our time, because that's the only asset that we really have as recruiters. That means I have to set up 6 to 15 face-to-face interviews. Now, this is a little skewed because my ratio is a little bit different. The national average for the interview to hire ratio for the recruiting industry is 7 to 1. So for every 7 interviews that the average recruiter sets up, they make 1 placement. Mine is 3 to 1. And frankly, it's not going to get better than that. It's not going to go to 2 to 1 or to 1 to 1, because for every open position I get, I send them 3 people, right? I can't all 3 get the job. In order to get that many face-to-face interviews, I need to set up 20 to 25 phone interviews. In order to get there, that means I need to submit at least 35 to 45 resumes to my clients. In order to get that, I need to make 700 to 800 phone calls to candidates to make all that happen. This is all assuming that I have jobs to fill. In order to get new jobs to fill, that's another 50 to 100 phone calls per week to make sure I'm getting in an extra 2 to 3 new jobs to work on. So telling the good recruiters from the bad. First thing you want to look for is look at their LinkedIn profile and look to see how many connections they have. Do they have at least 500 connections? If they don't have 500 connections, they either haven't been doing this very long or they're not connected well enough for you. All right, they've got to have that 500 plus. Do they have any recommendations on their profile? Right? How many do they have? If it's less than 10, right, we're in a very public business. You know, we're talking to 800 people a month, or in some cases 1,200 people a month, and nobody's recommending us. That's a red flag, right? We should be getting multiple recommendations over the course of each year. So you want to look to see, do they have 10 to 20 to 30 recommendations on their profile? If they do, take a look to see when they got those recommendations. Right? There's dates by all those recommendations. If they got all their recommendations in the same month, their recruiting firm had a contest that month to see who could get the most number of recommendations. All right? So that was very deliberately done. They should be getting them consistently throughout the year. Look for that. Or did they get all their recommendations from their coworkers? Which means they all turned to each other and said, hey guys, let's recommend each other. It'll make us look good. Right? So look to see who they got them from. Getting the best out of the recruiters. So how are you going to maximize these relationships with these recruiters? Number one is being as cooperative as you can. Right? So if they ask you about your salary, they're going to be the ones who are negotiating your salary for you. Help them. If you don't help them, they can't get you a better offer at the next place. You want to stay in touch with them. Shoot them an email every couple of weeks that says, hey Paul, I'm looking for a accountant position. If anything pops up, let me know. I'm still here available. If I can help you with anything, let me know. Most of the time, they're not going to respond, but they're going to see it, right? Why are they not going to respond? Because we're trying to figure out how to make 1,200 phone calls. But when we see the email, oh yeah, there's Pam, and she's an accountant, and I need to get back to her. Maybe I get back to her, maybe I don't get back to her, but then I pick up the phone and I talk to a client and say, yeah, I really could use an accountant. Do you know anybody? You know what? I know this person, Pam, and she's top of mind. That's how I'm going to remember her, because I'm constantly seeing her name and her title and that she's still available every 2 weeks. Right? So set up like an auto send so that goes out to your recruiters on a regular basis. You want to refer people to them if you can. Even if they can't use it, use the person. Listen, I met this one person. They had a really great, background. I thought maybe you could use them. They're IT, and I know you do IT. Here's this person. Maybe I can use that person. Maybe I can't. But what I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to go to your record and say, Sheila referred somebody to me. And that's going to go on there. And then the next time I need to reach out to somebody or help somebody, you're top of mind. Right? So refer people if they can, because we're taking notes. Again, being respectful in general to them, and so we're taking notes on our conversations. For example, the conversation I had right before I came over here, literally 15 minutes before I came over here, I had a guy. We have a position that's a director of finance position, a little bit outside of technology, but we're opening up to other things outside of technology now. For that particular position, it's required that we find somebody who's coming out of the financial industry. I had a guy apply. He's a director of finance, but he's been in manufacturing for his entire career. Very respectfully declined him for the position. He immediately gets back to me to tell me how I'm posting fake jobs, and it's just horribly aggravating that there are terrible recruiters like me out there who are posting these fake jobs and wasting everybody's time. So the next time I get a director of finance position, guess who I'm calling last, right? So think about how you're responding, because those people have keys to doors that you don't even know are there yet. And you want to be aware of what you're saying to the person who's answering. If you've ever called my office, Jerry answers the phone. If you are not very nice and pleasant to him, yeah, you know what, let me talk to Paul. Transfer the call already. He's going to put me on hold. He's going to say, listen, be careful. This is what this guy just said. And then he's going to pass the call over. And then I'm going to pick up the phone, and you're just going to be nice as pie to me. But I know exactly what you just said to Jerry. Right? It's like that at a lot of recruiting firms. On the other hand, if you're extremely nice, he's going to hang up the phone, or he's going to put you on hold to transfer me over, and say, wow, I was such a nice person. You got to talk to her. Just stop what you're doing and talk to her. Jerry will say that a lot. And if we do a good job, recommend them. You know, again, we're in a very public business. If somebody's doing a good job, drop a recommendation on their profile, because number one, that's going to help them out tremendously, because it'll help other people to know that they're a good recruiter. But you know, at the same time, it's going to make you look good as well. You know, remember, what you say about other people says more about you than it says about those other people, right? So if you can put your name and title and picture and a nice comment about somebody else onto someone else's profile that gets viewed tons and tons of times, now you've got a billboard about yourself on that person's profile that's getting visited hundreds of times a day, right? So if you can recommend the recruiter, drop a recommendation on their profile. I hope that was helpful for you, and please check out the rest of our YouTube channel for more tips and strategies to help you with your job search. Just look for Speed Up My Job Search, all one word, or use the link on your screen now. Now, if you'd like to join us at our next meeting, just go to drivestaff.com/JDNG for details. Each month we cover a different aspect of networking to help you sharpen your networking skills and to help you build your network with the other attendees. Now, if the location or the time doesn't work for you, we do have an online version available as well, and you can still network with us in our online private member forum. I'd love to meet you at the next one, so I hope you can make it. Thanks for watching.